Okay, so how will the global recession affect Bitcoin and crypto? I've kind of answered this question, but let me see if I can answer it again in a different way. So you have to understand the value prop of Bitcoin. I think what we can really say is the main value prop for Bitcoin, is looking at this from my perspective, is for currency risk and for political risk. It's a hedge versus those two. What is currency risk? Currency risk is basically inflation. So what happened in Venezuela, in Argentina? That's why Bitcoin is so popular in Argentina. I went to Buenos Aires, Argentina, 2 years ago on a crypto world tour. I mean, probably they love Bitcoin the most out of anywhere I've been in the world. And it's because people were getting paid in Bitcoin because the Argentine peso was getting devalued. The hyperinflation was ridiculous. So hyperinflation is when you have rapid growth in inflation and a currency becomes almost worthless. So in places like that, Bitcoin was a way to protect and save their wealth. So Bitcoin has already fundamentally proven in several different countries around the world that it's a hedge against hyperinflation. Then the second thing is political risk. So kind of the same thing, kind of different. It's more from when a government or a president wants to do something, right? So look, for instance, early in the year when there was tension in the Middle East with Iran and the US, lots of people went to Bitcoin, and the price of Bitcoin actually went up because if events or things happen outside of your control in your country, for example, in China, lots of Chinese nationals were fleeing to Bitcoin because they wanted to escape whether it was taxes or having their money seized. So for instance, what happened with Cyprus, where people had money in their bank accounts seized by the government. Imagine having your wealth in your bank account. The government goes in there, takes half your money and says, this is forced taxation. So Bitcoin is a hedge against things like that. It lets you become your own bank. So I think fundamentally, those are the two hedges for Bitcoin. So now looking at the global recession, Bitcoin and crypto has been correlated because everything has been going down because people have been looking for liquidity. People have been looking for cash. So nobody cares what the asset is. They're just looking to cash out and get money. So that's why everything has been going down. But I think once that stabilizes, which has somewhat happened, but I don't think we're quite there yet. I think once things stabilize, and then I think once we go into the global recession and you have governments and countries trying to take people's money, confiscate it with political risk, that's when Bitcoin and crypto in general, but mainly Bitcoin, will start to do well. And I think once we start to see inflation and hyperinflation as a result of governments printing money through quantitative easing, then Bitcoin will be a hedge. So if anything, I think we have to wait until the recession fully hits and things kind of unfortunately get worse. And then all of that Bitcoin will really start to shine. And I think that's when Bitcoin can grow. And when Bitcoin grows, I think the rising boat will lift all tides, and other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and DAI and DeFi will also start to grow as well. So I think overall, that's kind of what I think is going to happen. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Who knows? I'm definitely not an economist, but I think looking at current events and how things have played out, and looking at history and when Bitcoin has performed well, I think political risk and currency risk are really the best two value drivers for Bitcoin.